Good morning, everybody. The following video is of the nighttime tour of all the memorials in DC lit up. You're going to see the White House. You're going to see the Lincoln statue. You're going to see the Vietnam wall. And I have to remind you that I'm only cutting these down into short little videos, little snippets. It doesn't even cover a fraction of what we're seeing here. So I really recommend, if you can, if you have kids, school-age kids, bring them here. If you can at all possible, bring them here and let them see this rather than just read it in a book. Okay? It's just fabulous. The end of this video, it's a little funny because we're on a bus. Bus is full, and all of a sudden all the power went out. The bus came to a stop in the middle of the freeway, and some people were taking it lightly and, you know, taking it in stride and whatnot, but a few people were just flipping out. One guy got off the bus. Why, I don't know, but the tour guide was having a fit about that. Sir, get back on the bus. I can't be responsible for you if you're off the bus. But he thought he would help, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, long story short, everybody was calling 911. And finally, a police car pulled up behind us with his lights on so nobody would ram us. And a second bus came. So we got off the bus and got on the second bus and got home. We had to leave Jamie's wheelchair on the broken bus. But we woke up in the morning and looked out, and they had brought it to our campsite. And they called and apologized for the inconvenience and gave us some of our money back, which was nice. One other funny thing that happened was I've been wearing 2 pairs of pants while we're here because it's so friggin' cold. And I wear a pair of jeans, and on top of that, I wear a pair of sweatpants. Well, since nobody can see my jeans, I don't bother fastening them. Okay, might as well be comfortable. Well, doing all that walking, they start to slide down, and I can't find a private place to pull them up without looking stupid. So every time I get up, they slide down a little bit more, a little bit more. By the time I get back to the motorhome, they're around my thighs, these jeans. You know, like some of the boys wear now with it hanging, with their butt hanging out. That's what I felt like. But it was just kind of funny, and Jamie was laughing at me as I'm squirming around trying to keep my pants from falling down. But anyway, enjoy the video, and thank you for watching. And once again, don't just have a great day, make it a great day. All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, I'll give you a chance to take it. President to make use of the radio. People could not buy televisions or computers, but they could buy radios. They weren't that expensive. It was one way to reach out to the people. He would cheer them up with his upper-class New York acts of poverty. Here's a group of American workers. They have no work because the stock market and the banks collapsed. No one is issuing loans. There are no new construction projects. Roosevelt will find work for these men, building roads and dams and bridges, reforesting our open spaces. This is called a breadline. This is here for a very important reason. These days, our nation is doing much better. In those days, Roosevelt could look out from the White House and see 1/3 of a nation ill-housed, ill-clad, and ill-nourished. If he can't find work for the average American working man, Roosevelt may have a violent revolution on his hands. So, to restore domestic tranquility, he has to keep these people busy. And he will. Now, these two senior citizens, they are a symbol of the Social Security Administration. This woman has worn out clothes. That man's overalls don't look so good. They're old. Roosevelt wants to take good care of them, so he dreams up a new form of pension for the nation, a Social Security Act. A Social Security Administration will take care of these people. With Social Security, they won't have to work until they can't work anymore. So let's head past these sad elderly people. This is how sad they are because they just heard about Social Security. They haven't got their first check yet, but soon she'll be able to afford quality undergarments and she'll have nice shoes once again.
Do you need a live model?
Not as energetic as he used to be. Roosevelt served a 4th term. He was elected to a 4th term, but he didn't serve the entire term. He died early in the 1st year of his 4th term. He had chosen a new running mate, Harry Truman. Look at Roosevelt's face. He's just not feeling very good. He would die just before World War II ended of a brain aneurysm. Now, if you come this way, we'll see a quote from Roosevelt. But they fell in love and they married. In fact, her Uncle Theodore gave her away at the wedding. He even cracked a joke. He said, "We like to keep the last name in the family." Eleanor was a distant cousin, but most of her children came out very well. In addition to being the mother of his children, she was a valuable ally to Franklin Roosevelt. He wasn't the most faithful husband. Politically, she always remained a good, faithful wife to Franklin Roosevelt. Although their marriage didn't work out so well, their political career together went wonderful. Notice the wind is blowing her clothes. That's a symbol of her active role as First Lady. She didn't simply sit around the White House as an ornament to Franklin's presidency. She was a valuable part of the team. Franklin did not like to be seen in his actual condition, sitting in a wheelchair. Eleanor, she stood up for her president, and so there she is symbolically standing on her own 2 legs. That's a symbol of the fact that Eleanor, her legs worked fine, and she also wanted to help Franklin. So she would be the one to go out and to stand or to walk amongst the people in ways he could not. She would go gather information from the people. She would bring it back to Franklin Roosevelt and his assistants. People loved Eleanor. Like Franklin, she had overcome difficulty. She was an orphan. Her parents died when she was young. Her father died of alcoholism and dementia. And she had to overcome that, but she did. To be one of the great women of the 20th century, Eleanor was an adult woman when she first got the right to vote in an election. Would you believe women have only had the vote for 98 years, not even a century of female political power? We're used to women being political these days. Eleanor helped women to think about their new political power because she helped organize them into clubs that vote, voting clubs. Of course, she wanted them to vote Democrat. She was a Democrat. She would survive President Roosevelt, but she would also help give birth to one of his children, the United Nations. It was founded here in Washington, D.C. When Franklin Roosevelt died, the new president approached Eleanor and said, "Madam, is there anything I can do for you?" She said to Harry Truman, "Is there anything I can do for you, Mr. President? Because you're the one in hot water now." He was in hot water. Eleanor helped him. She was our first delegate to the United Nations. She was a feminist before that word had been invented. She was a civil rights advocate. She really did love all the American people, and they knew it. That's one reason why he kept getting elected. People loved her so much. but not my grandmother. She had a crush on Franklin Roosevelt. And she always felt that Eleanor wasn't good enough for him. She turned out to be a great woman. If anything, she was his equal. Some would say she had a few notches on the intelligence rung above him. By the way, the first lady to follow her, Margaret Truman, or is it Bess? Bess was the mom. Bess Truman was just as clever a woman as Eleanor, but Bess kept it very low profile. She was just as clever a political operator, just as valuable an asset to her husband. But Bess Truman didn't really care for people. So, at public functions, she would wear white gloves, so no one would know how much she was sweating. Eleanor Roosevelt, she was a great American. She deserves this. She was a valuable part of the team. Now, we have to backtrack.
Thank you for watching, and don't just have a great day, make it a great day. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.